Sup guys, Juggalo here, and today I got the water block I was talking about. This water block was like $100 and then it was like a 104, 105, and if you're wondering why there's light right here, it's because I have a lamp so you guys can actually see. And what comes with the block, which I find pretty interesting, you actually get compression fittings right here, and then let me see, has a little EVGA going on. You get 4 of them. And then you get thermal paste right here, and then you get your water block, this right here. This has the glowing E on it, and then this will have the MOSFET or VREG, whatever you want to say it. But anyways, I forgot to get something, so I'm sorry. So let me get that real quick. And I may have to make some noise because I got Tim, but of course there's no scissors when you need it, so I guess I'll be doing this kind of dangerously. So I like to use MX4. It's just a preference of mine. You can use other thermal paste out there. Shinichi is pretty good, but it also costs a lot, I think, but I'm not sure. So I'm going to go ahead and try to stab this plastic and just get the Tim out the best I can, because I have new MX4 thermal paste right here. This is the stuff right here. But anyways, basically, if I move the camera down, and hopefully it doesn't get in the way, but this right here is where the water block is going to go. It's going to replace this whole heatsink here, and then this right here is going to be replaced with this guy right here, and I think this fan just goes like right here, so it's pretty cool. Or I should say the other way, because it will line up. But the first thing you have to do is flip your motherboard over, and you're going to see some screws. You're going to undo these 2, you're going to undo these 4. With the kit you get 2 extra screws, and it's for this water block right here. So make sure you do not lose any of these screws. Also, with the booklet, it comes with a install guide. If I can open it up, that'd be great. Installation, how to do it, and it's pretty simple. I just have to make sure I have the water block the way I think it's going to be laying out, and I was right. So that makes sense to me, looking at the water block layout. So let's get cracking to it. Let me see. It looks like these people here don't know how to install properly, and they basically tied it so tight, and it made the screws start to strip out. And these screws have springs in them, so you only can do it a certain pressure and not over tighten it. So don't know why they did that, but let me go ahead and move up the camera, and hopefully it doesn't fall. So we're gonna undo these little guys right here, and I know people are gonna say, well, why don't you just do this, or I don't want to see all of it. That's what the fast forward button is for. You don't have to watch this video in its whole entirety if you don't want to, but it will definitely help you out, I think. So we got those done, and now we're gonna do these. And you can just hear it pop out. So there we go. Okay, and that must have been the heat sink. So if I lift up slowly, there we go. Alright, this is the stock cooler right here, and it is pretty big for what it does. There's no thermal pads or anything around it. The only thing it's cooling is this guy right here. And here is the thermal paste chunk, I call it. And then here is, yuck, I got that stuff on my finger. But anyway, here is the stock heat sink right here. And it is massive. Let's just compare the two, shall we? You can tell the height is definitely a lot more, and this does have protective film on it, so don't worry, I'm not putting any oils on it. So we have this off, so move that to the side. Okay, and how this is going to look is you're going to have it roughly, let me see, it's going to do that right here, and if I can get it to fit. Okay, now this is going to be interesting because I have to hold it like a certain way to even get the screws in and stuff, so that's going to be a nice challenge for me to do. So I'll probably do this one first and then this one second. So let me go ahead and take that off. And as always, we're going to make sure everything is clean on this motherboard. I'm going to go ahead and clean off this Tim stuff right here. I like to try to get most of it by the Q-tip itself, and then later on I'll go and use alcohol to get the rest of the like residue and all that stuff. But if you can see, let me hold the motherboard close so you guys can see, that chip is now shiny. Okay, now we're going to take our thermal paste, or not thermal paste, but say Q-tips, Q-tips, and then isopropyl alcohol, 90% or higher. That is what you would want, just because it evaporates a lot quicker and everything like that. So we're going to go ahead and do that, and while that's drying, we're going to go ahead and do all these little chips right here, just to make sure it's all nice and clean. And it says, for some reason, if I read it correctly, it says use a pea-sized drop of thermal paste to the center of the chipset and each VRAM. So basically you're going to do it in the center here, here, like, that makes sense now that I see it. So I'm going to go ahead and get another Q-tip, and then I'm going to make sure everything is clean. There's no remnants of alcohol, and go ahead and clear that off. And then we're going to go ahead and put a pea size, or estimate what should it be pea size, which I think is kind of a lot, but I could see why. Okay, and I'm just doing it like that. Alright, so there we go, we got pea size everywhere. Estimate, you know. Then we're going to go ahead and take our block. It's perfectly clean, and then I'm going to carefully drop this into place. And then I'm going to push in, push down. Alright, now here is what I was talking about, how this is interesting, because now I got to hold the motherboard so I can get the screws into place. So luckily enough, the screwdriver is somewhat magnetic, which helps out a lot, but what is going against me is that there's a spring, so you have to make sure you're doing it correctly and everything like that. So I'm going to go ahead and take the motherboard like this and see if I can at least get it started somewhat into a hole. And of course I have to push it in to get it to line up. So this is going to be a pain in the butt, needless to say. So let me see if I can get it on there magnetically. And man, this isn't going to be easy at all, because I have to get one of these screws in to make it work. So let me get these in real quick. Let me see if I can flip it over and have it onto my side like this, and then I gotta look at the holes. That's what you're gonna have to do, is make sure the holes are lined up, and then you can screw it in. So we're gonna go okay, that screws in. Alright, so now we're gonna do the other one, and always do it in a crisscross pattern. And I can already tell you, looking at the block, is that the thermal paste is probably going to spread out past the chipset. So that doesn't matter, that's fine. It's better to have a little too much than too little. So it is what it is, I guess. So we're going to go ahead and put this screw on right here. Then of course you're going to hear cop cars maybe as they drive by. So I'm going to go ahead and screw this all the way down till I can't do it anymore a little bit. Then do this one, and then just do it a crisscross pattern throughout the whole board. Don't over tighten it. Just, if you have to put physical force to get the screw to stop, I think it's time for you to not screw anymore. So I'm going to go ahead and put that on. Alright, then we're just going to do a little check to make sure it is nice and tight. Okay, and the springs is the spring is there to make sure you do not over tighten. Alright, so let's see, doesn't that look way better? Nice and clean, and you do not have the huge heatsink right here anymore. So let me see how it would stand. So basically it'll be like that, so you can see the difference. Okay, we're done with this. Next up, we're gonna do the the chipset water block right here, and let me see how it's gonna lay out first before. I think it's gonna be using this screw, this screw, this screw, and this screw. There's holes already there, so let's find out. Let me go ahead and do a test fit. That's what I like to do, is always do a test fit. So yep, it's gonna go right there. So this is a really small die right here, so you just need a little bit, not that much, just a little dab. Okay, so there we go. We're done with that. And of course I lost the cap to my thermal paste. The world is now over. Alright, next up we're going to go ahead and peel this plastic off, which is on there pretty good. And now we're going to put this block on. So we're gonna, this is going to be an interesting part again, because where the screws are and everything. So just estimate and then let it do let it do its thing. Then again, you're gonna have to hold it, and you're gonna have to flip it over really carefully so you don't drop it. Like, you drop it, you're gonna lose you know, all your connections and everything. So alright, so I got the holes lined up, and I just need to get one of them in, hopefully. and it's not going in the hole for some reason, so I think I might have moved it around too much. So I'm going to go ahead and do the thermal paste application again if I have to. And you see that? It didn't even go over the chip. It did it enough where I don't have to worry about it. Now this, I just have to clean this up a little bit, so I might have to go back and get some more Q-tips, but that's alright. So let me get all this excess stuff off. And the thermal paste in itself is essentially a cleaner, almost in my opinion, just because of what it can do. So go ahead and get that stuff off right here and right here. And I'm going to go ahead and get more. Oh, here we go. Got thermal, or not thermal pad, but Q-tip right here to clean it. So what I'm going to do now is try to be a little smart about it, and basically have the motherboard facing upward so I can see the screws, and then lay down the chipset that way, if that will work, of course. So we're going to go ahead and clean it with alcohol again and let it dry. So let me see if I dropped any Q-tips. See, yeah. So then the alcohol dries and we're good to go. So that's good, that's good. Alright. Making sure it's all clean now. When you take off thermal paste, this is what I do. Okay, now we're going to have to do that again. We're going to have to do a little dab. Just a little. Okay. And now, this is going to be the fun part, is trying to get the light to line up. Or not the light, but this right here to line up with the holes. So, let me see how it will go, and if I have it right, and it looks like I do have it right. So alright, this is like requiring two people. Kinda sucks seeing how this thing is like laid out almost. So take that off and then we'll try it again. So alright, let's try this again. Roughly where it's going to be. And then we're going to go ahead and flip it over. But I'm going to try to have it where I'm using one hand supporting the block again, and then doing that. So we'll see if we can get this block to work the second time. So alright, I see one screw hole right there, so if I can get this in, that means I can just alright, there, we got that first, we got the first hole in. Alright, we're halfway there. Okay, now you might have to move some of the stuff or to get it lined up. Now you can see it's sort of out of whack, so we're gonna have to go and move it a little bit right there. Okay, so it's a little, it's okay if you gotta move it a little bit. So alright, and then these holes should line up like they should. Okay. Okay, we got the other one, and now we're going to go ahead and use those two screws we got that came with the EVGA water block. And I did get this block from EVGA because shipping was a lot cheaper than like performance PCs and stuff like that. So even though they're like, hey, get it at performance PCs, it's way cheaper. As far as, I wouldn't say way cheaper, but it saves you a couple of bucks. And who isn't all about saving some money? So we're going to go ahead and make sure that it is working the way it should. And there you have it. It's right there. Sorry if I did this out of view, but it's a real pain sometimes to get these screws to go ahead and, you know, take. So let me undo one screw, this one right here, and it seems like the whole spring popped off. So okay. So there you have it. And right here, all I have to do is put that one screw in. But that's how you install it. It's pretty easy. Looks pretty sweet. And all you have to do now is take this, flip it over, plug it in, and you're done. And as always, comment, subscribe, rate this video, click that like button. Guys, have a great day. Bye.